We are being joined by Lieutenant Colonel Doc Pete Chambers, a retired Green Beret and Special Operations flight surgeon. Doc Pete Chambers is coming to us from an undisclosed location in Central Texas, where he is currently manning a command post, conducting and monitoring a large logistical operation. Doc, can you tell us what you see on the ground and if there's any movements, any changes since last week?
Sure, yeah, and I'm not eyes out on the ground right now because I'm here at our I would call it operations center, just an office with some whiteboards. But I'm paying attention to my job, which is the liaison between law enforcement, National Guard, and the trucker convoy. And they reached out to me while we were down there working on the border, something separate, and said, "Could you help facilitate?" Absolutely. And then somehow, I'm the president of Mexico right now. So, that's how the mainstream media works, and they try to discredit and do all that. So that's okay. What our job is going to be, and what I see right now is the convoy just left out of Virginia Beach, and it's not a huge number there right now because they didn't want to clog Virginia Beach. So there's trucks that will join along the way. There's, I tell people, look, mama bears, former cops, military, veterans, just good folks that just want to bring light to this situation on the open policy, which is an invasion on our border. So that's what they're doing. This is a First Amendment type of rally, if you will, peaceful assembly. They will be going then down south to hit Highway 10. They'll cut west. They'll go across through Baton Rouge, Louisiana, into Texas, and then on into Central Texas, where we will meet them and have just a short rally for a day on Thursday the 1st. And there'll be some speakers and things like that. And we've got Lara Logan. We've got Ivan Ranklin. We've got Michael Yon. We got Trennis Evans. Victor Avila. So there's some good folks. I'll be just up there kind of emceeing with the Banners for Freedom folks, Robert and Jamie Agee. And then from there, they'll leave out on Friday, and they will go down to the area vicinity of, but not proper, Eagle Pass. Now, I've been down there, and I've reconned it and looked at it. We were down there setting up a children's camp ministry for some folks. That's what we were doing down there when they called. So absolutely, I'll help you. So right now down there, it's quiet. The Eagle Pass has been shut down by the Texas National Guard, so it's good. There's no flow going through, so it's safe. But north of there's a children's camp at Quemado, Texas, Quemado, Texas, and it's on the website. And that's where I was going to set up that ministry for this preacher. And sure enough, that's going to be the anchor point. So they'll get down there. Right now it's quiet. There's nothing happening. And they'll have another rally. They'll have a service. They'll do some baptisms, things like that. So that's what those people will be doing. But right now, for me, I'm coordinating with the Department of Public Safety right now, just kind of watching for infiltrators, because this is the technique. They'll turn this into something bad, and it's something really good. And so we have BOLO reports, and be on the lookout. We're paying attention to the infiltrators. We're paying attention to the media that's not so good, the Vice News and things like that, telling them that, hey, these guys are going to go round up migrants. That's not the intent. The intent is to bring light to this subject. So I hope that kind of gives you the once over. I'm ready for any questions.
Yes, absolutely. When the trucker convoy gets there, I heard it's coming in from the west, the north, and the east. Yeah. It's coming in from a bunch of different states and cities from across our land, from sea to shining sea. Now, when they get there, what you're putting on is a one-day event, but do these truckers plan on staying for a couple of days to kind of just, it's a show of force and a show of solidarity?
So this is what's happening too, and I'm only talking about the Texas one because that's my job as a liaison, but there is another portion that's going to Yuma, Arizona, and there's another portion going to San Ysidro, California. So there's three. TakeOurBorderBack.com is the website, and you can see all three routes and all three locations. When the trucks get there, each and every one of them, this is what I suggested, and many will do, is to assist local law enforcement and the National Guard in Texas specifically with any needs that they may have. If they need something moved, we'll move it for you. We'll help you because we're supporting the state of Texas here. And, the Yuma portion of it, I can't speak for what they're doing specifically on the ground, but that's the intent. That is because if you're American and you got a truck and you're here, hey, let's help out this situation. So offer that up, get that out there. That's really what what I would propose, but I'm not the leader of it, so I can't tell them to do it. But I think that's in their hearts, is to lend assistance while they're there. So each and every one of them will have a different story as to what they can do and what they can't do when they got to get back to work.
Colonel Doc, I have received some video this morning out of Eagle Pass, and it's eerily quiet. I'm talking eerily quiet. I mean, there's not even a piece of trash in the river right now.
And there's a reason for that, and I know exactly the reason. The reason is the levees have been open, so there are levees that control the flow of water, and so Texas, and good, prudent decision, said let's increase the water rate. And they didn't tell me that, but I saw it. I saw it myself. I was out horseback looking at the levees, and so levees are pumping water into from residual streams and whatnot coming into the Rio. That will fill that up. So right now the water's too high to even cross. So that's keeping it quiet, and that's good. But just remember this, that when you're looking at the bright, shiny object there, that it's still coming around different ways. So I talked to people in the Rio Grande Valley, which is about a 5-hour drive up to a 7-hour drive, depending on what part of it you go to. And they're saying, the National Guard friends that I have there, hey, we're getting increased numbers over here. So this is a little game of whack-a-mole that I did while I was on Operation Lone Star. That's just how it is. There's no way you're going to just stop this whole thing, because this is a planned invasion from, the globalists. I mean, there are so many different things. It would take me 5 hours to explain every possible facet of that. That's what that is. So it is eerily quiet, and that's good for the people of Eagle Pass. It's great for the Border Patrol, who are applauding us right now down there, saying, thank you for taking this work off our hands. We get a break.
Now, there has been a dramatic shift in energy I have seen over the last week and a half with the Patriots all over the country. Once Governor Greg Abbott said, no, the feds are not coming in. Will there be some sort of a showdown? I mean, I'm thinking probably not. If anything, I see this will be going to court. But is there any sort of a possible showdown between the Texas National Guard and the feds coming in wanting to retake that park in Eagle Pass?
Right. So there's two parts to that question. So the first part is that the people themselves are now demonstrating the American character, which is something that William Barrett Travis talks about in his Travis letter. I suggest you pull it up and read it. But that American character has increased because the vitriol, the evilness, whatever they're doing on the world economic and the globalists has increased. So that's good. So that's pushed things like this, because when they pump up the volume, Americans pump up the volume. So that's great. The Americans are doing that. On the legal side, or lawful side, really, the state of Texas has taken a stand as of the 24th of this this month, and Governor Abbott put that declaration out. Well, that is looking at specifically the Constitution, which is great, because I applaud that. What I don't like to see is what happened before that at the Fifth Circuit Court, where they argued tort or case law. So when they're arguing that's never going to be a win. The federal government has the duty to provide security, period. There's nothing more, nothing less. It's that simple. So that is what that letter represented. And so that's good. Will there be court cases? Absolutely. Will there be arguments? Absolutely. But I've got to watch out for, the elephant in the room is I don't completely, I see Governor Abbott kind of dragging his feet. And when he drags his feet, he's waiting for people to get angry enough. He wants to get voted in. He wants to look good. He'll do it. So I think with this increase of American character, is going to force his hand to say, hey, I got to do what's right for Texas. And he will, because he wants to get reelected. I mean, that's just how these people are. Make me governor, and it would just be all based upon the Constitution. We wouldn't have to have that argument, because I don't want to be reelected, because I just want to, go in and do my job. I'm not saying I'm doing that. I'm just saying that's the way it looks.
From the outside looking in, I have seen Governor Greg Abbott kind of step up and kind of fill this role as an American leader that so many Americans, not just here in Texas, but across the country, looking at him as a source of hope, as that beacon of hope to say, you know what, these last 3 years have been absolutely insane. I am leaning on Greg Abbott right now to give me that hope and take out all those 3 years of aggression and putting everything on, and moving all your chips in on Governor Greg Abbott. Now, I know people are wanting to completely end this, to secure our border, to end these treasonous acts that are destroying the fabric of our society. Can we expect what the people are wanting? And like I said, this big energy shift. I mean, the silent majority has been silent, but for the last week and a half, they have been very loud, and we are starting to gain momentum in a positive way. Do you see this continuing for the long term?
Yes, I do, actually, because the courage is contagious, number one. Number two, when you're talking about the governor, I think that because those eyes are upon him, the song, "The Eyes of Texas Are Upon You," I mean, that's what that is. I mean, that is a real thing. It's because the people, we the people, are looking at you. And he sees that, he knows that. His aides will probably, if they're wise, tell him, hey, they like this, and they don't like the arguments in court that really get nowhere. They like the arguments in court that are based upon the Constitution. He saw that win. He should take that win and run it into the end zone.
Have you gotten any intel on any bad actors that are trying to infiltrate this honorable movement of this trucker rally that is heading into Texas?
Absolutely, 100% yes.
And what does that look like in your intel? What's that telling you? What should we put out there to warn these great American patriots that are coming in to look out for? And how would they go about reporting an incident like that?
Absolutely. They have to record everything they do, because parallel reconstruction is a thing. That's what they used at January 6th. So you see somebody dressed up like Ray Epps telling you to storm the castle. Obviously, that's when you start recording, and you say 1,000 recordings around this person will put them on their heels, and then get it out as quick as you can. That's the key. You got to get ahead of this thing. The other thing is that there are other groups out there that, even though they might use the word patriot in their name, are actually doing things that are not appropriate, because they're using that name to get into these groups. So we got to be careful with those groups. Not every one of them are bad, but there are some that are, because they're calling themselves that. They're a wolf in sheep's clothing. So those would be the types that would be like an Antifa or a BLM type that, in the past that we've seen, where they come in, they change clothes in the parking lot, and all of a sudden now they're part of the MAGA movement. So you're going to see that, and that's just part of the game that they play. We're not playing that game, because you know what the elitists play? They play polo. You know what we play in Texas? It's called rodeo, right? We're real.
Amen. Amen, brother. Hey, Doc, is there anything else? Is there anything else that you want to add to this? Anything, that you could think of that could add some value to our listeners out there today, and to kind of, give them some words of encouragement or some inspiration that, hey, look, we are holding the line and doing everything we can here in Texas?
Yes. I would say, fellow Texans and Americans and citizens and compatriots, we are besieged on all sides by forces of tyranny, and that we will hold the line when it comes to standing up for what is dear to the American character, peacefully, lawfully, and with strength and courage. Because I've seen what civil war looks like. I've seen all that, and it's ugly. And we will not allow that, not in Texas, not in America.
Colonel Doc Pete Chambers, you are a great American. I'm honored to call you not only a friend, but a brother in arms. You stay safe down there. You hold the line. Absolutely. And Semper Fi, sir.
Hey, all right, brother. Semper Fi. Hey, you guys take care.
Goodbye.